super excited to get this kicked off with you guys. Just to set the scene a little bit for today, I've got a few agenda items that we're going to go through. Quick little introduction into the challenge and what the plans are for the next few weeks together. I'll talk you through a little bit about why direct messaging lead gen, why it's so powerful, and why I think it's a really great method to use for generating leads. And I say generating leads, but it could be, as we'll talk about today, could be a number of things. Could be generating leads, could be finding people for attracting to a group, to an event. I'll use the term leads loosely a lot today, but yeah, just know that this method that I'm going to take you through today could be used for lots of different offers at the other end. I'll talk you through. So we have a process. Everything nowadays needs a process and an acronym. Ours is called the Converti process. I'll walk you through exactly that process so you can see how it works. And really over the next few weeks together, that is what we're going to be focusing on. So I'm going to step you through each stage of that process. I'll provide you with different scripts and things that you can use at each stage with the end goal of generating, once again, what that outcome is for you, whether it's booked meetings, whether it's driving people to a lead magnet, whether it's getting them to sign up to an event, whatever it may be, the process will work for it. Yeah, looking forward to taking you through that. And then just a couple of little templates to walk you guys through. I won't go into this in great detail, but the conversion equation is just a good way to track the metrics and know what you're going to need to put in to get what you want out the other end. And then I'm going to give you a template that you can use to just help keep track of everything. One of the big things in direct messaging is all around consistency. And so having what I call the daily ritual template goes a long way to just make sure that you're on target. And then last but not least, we'll actually walk through the process from start to finish on where and how to find these hot leads, hot prospects, and then, how to then funnel those people into the Converti process. And then we'll finish up with a bit of Q&A, but please feel free throughout the process today. If you have questions, like I will do Q&A at the end, but I'm also more than happy to be stopped partway through. If you have a question, if something's not clear, you don't need to sit and wait until the end. Feel free to jump in at any point. So yeah, so that's the overview. So first of all, I want to talk a little bit about why I'm such a big advocate for direct messaging campaigns. I have, for a little bit of background, maybe particularly people watching the recording might not have had that much exposure to me, but I have pretty much tested every marketing strategy I think there is in the market. Everything from cold emails, Facebook ads, SEO, Google ads, direct messaging, and everything in between. And out of all of them, I think direct messaging is easily one of the ones that can be the most consistent, particularly if you don't have thousands of dollars to throw at Facebook ads, for example. So with that said, I've touched on it a little bit, but generally when it comes to marketing your business, there's a few things that are the common things that people recommend. So number one is, yes, we can always look at running paid ads. Number two, we can look at doing things like SEO optimization of our websites or landing pages. One that has grown in popularity over the last few years has been building out a team of appointment setters. And then last but not least, one that has definitely been growing over the years is becoming a social media influencer, which is potentially great if you can nail it, but is easily one of the most challenging ones to build out. To me, one of the things I struggle with these methods is a lot of them have this idea that you basically just have to have money and you need to just throw it into the ether and then hope and pray that you get the result that you want at the other end. Now, I'd say the one exception to that is running paid ads. It can be a lot more consistent, but once again, you generally have to throw quite a lot of money at the ads during the learning phase to start before you actually build out a successful campaign. And apologies to anybody who's watching this recording that is in the ad space. I'm sure you can talk all about how that's not true, but that's just my personal experience. With that said, why, going back to the point of this kind of screen, why DM lead gen? Before I get into the why, I do want to address some of the things to be aware of with lead gen, with direct messaging lead gen as well. First of all, it's not a magic silver bullet. It's not something where you just suddenly going to make millions of dollars. It does take work. It takes time and effort. And like I've mentioned already a couple of times, one of the key things in that is consistency is key when it comes to direct messaging campaigns. That's why I'll show you the daily ritual template at the end, because this is the type of thing that you need to, it doesn't take a lot of time, half an hour here, half an hour there, but it does take that consistency of doing something every single day. And it can feel a little uncomfortable. You are reaching out to strangers and essentially trying to pitch yourself and your business or your offer. But the reality is that's the same with everything, right? Whether it's cold calling, whether it's running ads, whether it's trying to become an influencer, all of these things feel uncomfortable to start with. But one thing I always like to say is if you plan on growing a business, if you plan on growing an offer, you need to get comfortable with feeling uncomfortable. You're going to feel uncomfortable a lot growing a business, learning new skills, that kind of thing. And it's only uncomfortable in the short term while you're learning and getting the hang of it. And once you've got the hang of it, then it just becomes second nature. Now, on the flip side of that, if you can do all of that, where direct messaging campaigns are really powerful, is number one, it is a repeatable process. Once you learn this process, you can use it anytime, anywhere to grow any business and any offer. And you can do it with no money, which if you're building a new business, even if you've had a successful business in the past, you might be starting a new business and you don't have the same sort of money to throw at marketing and that sort of things that you did in a previous life. This process we're going to go through today, you can absolutely start with $0 and continue with $0 for as long as you like. One of the other things I really like about this process is there's no algorithm that you have to obey. There are platform rules, of course, but unlike things like Facebook ads or SEO or even trying to be an influencer, you aren't suddenly going to have Facebook turn around one day and say, we're changing the way that ads work, or Google turn around one day and say, hey, all this money that you've spent on SEO optimization, we're changing our algorithm. And so now you need to do a whole bunch of rework. Similar with being an influencer, we've all seen it where one day you can have posts that easily go viral on something like TikTok, and the next day they change the algorithm and your video suddenly start getting banned or restricted or anything like that. So this process, once again, works on any platform, and there's no kind of algorithm that you need to learn for it to work, which ultimately, and this is one of the big points, is this is a skill for life. You learn this process, you learn how to drum up engagement and leads through direct messaging, and you will be able to reuse this anytime, anywhere for any offer that you may have now or in the future. So with that said, let's talk a little bit about the Converti process that we're going to be going over together over the next few weeks. At a high level, this is the overview of the process. Now, each week we're going to cover different sections of the process. And so the idea being that rather than you having to learn everything from start to finish right up front, we'll crawl before we can walk. So today, predominantly, we're going to talk about the connection process and just how to get that process underway, how to find people to connect with, and just get the conversation started. Next week, we're going to touch on the observe and value stages, which is really about how to start generating authentic engagement with people. The following week, we'll talk about how to then drive further engagement and start getting people to engage back with you. And then the last most important piece that a lot of people skip, and this is where the kind of feeling a little uncomfortable part comes in, is actually inviting people to a next step, whether that's inviting them to a call, a lead magnet, etc. So arguably the most important piece, and the piece that people often want to skip because it's the piece that to start with can feel a little uncomfortable until you know how to do it properly. Now, one thing I will call out on this, most of the messages and things you probably see pretty much jump straight from connect to invite. We've all experienced this, I'm sure. You get some random friend request from Facebook, you accept the friend request, or you even don't accept the friend request, and then within minutes, they're in your DMs pitching you about the latest thing that they're going to sell you, which is absolutely not what we're going to be focusing on here together. That process just does not work from my experience and alienates a bunch of people along the way that could have been great clients for you. So you'll see as we go through this process together why and how this is so powerful in building authentic engagement with people and ultimately driving really good customers to whatever the outcome is that you might be. And I know I've touched on this a few times, but worth driving home, this works on everything: Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, X, Instagram, TikTok. This process is not platform specific, so you can use it on whatever your preferred social media platform is. Personally, I run it on Facebook and LinkedIn predominantly. That's where most of the people that I work with hang out. So that's where I target, but I have run campaigns on all of these platforms using this process with no problem. So before we dive into the how to do it, I wanted to call out, so this is a little template that we built, and I'm happy to share this with people to give you a rough idea of what the process is going to look like and what the inputs at one end need to be to get the desired outcome at the other end. So I'll just pull up this template. You guys just confirm that you can see the template. You're not still seeing my presentation.
Yep, I can see the Excel sheet you've got.
Cool. So these are the main stages that we're going to be going through the conversion process. So we've got to do some initial connection requests, whether that's connection requests on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, etc. Of those, a percentage are going to accept our requests, which are going to become our top of funnel leads. Of those top of funnel leads, there is a percentage of those that are going to be qualified to be the types of people that are maybe right now looking for whatever the solution is that we offer, which will lead to book calls. Unfortunately, I would love to say that everybody that booked a call shows up, but in reality, that's just not the case. And so you're going to have a percentage of those people that then actually show up to the meeting. So you're going to have a total number of meetings. And then of those people that show up to the meetings, you're going to have a conversion rate of people that then end up buying whatever your solution, your software or your product or whatever it may be is, or signing up to your program, event, etc., which is going to lead to your total number of clients. So what I've done as an example, these are our actual percentages here. And over time, you will get to know your percentages as well. But I think ours are a little bit above industry average in a lot of cases, might be below industry average in some cases. But I think these, if you want to start with these as an average, that's a good potential start. And so from this, we can work backwards. We can basically say, okay, if I want 10 new clients a month, then I need to have 33 meetings, 48 book calls, 159 people in the top of my funnel, which in this case means 635 connection requests at the other end. Now, that might sound intimidating to start with, but when you break that down, it's really only connecting with around 20 to 30 people a day, which if connecting with 20 to 30 people a day means you're going to get 10 new clients at the other end. And once again, to do those connections, we're talking sort of 30 minutes, an hour a day set aside to do that. It's a pretty simple and easy process to follow once you know these percentages to know the guaranteed outcome at the other end. And like I said before, one of the beauties is this process costs you no money. Yes, it costs you a bit of your time, but depending on where you're at in your business, this is arguably one of the best uses of your time to drive people home. So this one is often one where I get a few questions. I don't know if there's any questions at the moment on this before I move on. Otherwise, we can always circle back to any questions later on. Cool. I'll take silence as that we're okay to move on. But yeah, if there are any questions, just yell out or save them to the end. It's fine as well. So knowing that we need to reach out to about 30 people a day, this is the daily ritual template I'm going to send to you. Essentially, it's just a really easy way to keep track of the process of connecting with people. So you'll see each one of these stages is tied into the different stages of that conversion process that I showed you earlier. And once again, this is just to help you keep tabs on knowing that you've hit your daily targets. On the left-hand side here, there's kind of two options. I've seen different people do it different ways, depending on what works best for them. So either you can put the days of the week, for example, and you can say, okay, on Monday, I qualify 50 people, I sent 30 friend requests, and so on. Or the other way that I've seen it done, which takes a little bit more effort, but can pay off in the long run, is once you qualify the people, you actually put their names in here. So you're building out like a little mini CRM for yourself where you can then keep tabs on, okay, here's Charles. I sent him a friend request. I've sent him a connection. I've covered the observe stage. And so this can be a really good way if you do go to that point, say little mini CRM, to really keep tabs, make sure that you're moving people through each stage of the pipeline to ultimately get them to the stage of inviting them to your offer. So this template I will drop in the Slack channel for anybody who ends up watching this video that's not in the Slack channel. You can either reach out to me on Facebook or LinkedIn, and I can send you the link to this template as well. Now is where the rubber hits the road, talking about how to actually find these people and drive them into this process. So for that, I'm just going to switch over for a moment to Facebook. Grab the screen here. Cool. So I'm going to use Facebook as an example because it's arguably one of the easier ones to use to find leads, but there are similar processes to what I'm going to show you now that work on every platform. And so, that you can use what you learn here on Facebook and apply it to those platforms as well. So first thing I would say is that Facebook is filled with groups for anything and everything you can imagine. I've pulled up some examples here so you can see we've got this is a group for coaches, people in funnel building, Shopify, digital marketing, different people wanting to move to Asia, even Star Trek fans. So you can pretty much find a group for anything you can imagine on Facebook. And it is one of the easier ways to start finding people that are in your targeted niche. As an example, somebody I was just chatting to this morning in the home renovation space in the UK, there are entire groups dedicated to renovating your home in the UK. So that's immediately people that are in your target market, people that meet your customer persona, and particularly maybe in the location that you're looking to target if you don't have a kind of remote business that can sell to people anywhere in the world. Now, before we get into kind of pulling the people out of the groups, one of the things I always suggest, first of all, is have a look at the quality of the group. So what we're looking for when we check these groups is, first of all, is there genuine engagement in the group? Is there genuine questions and answers from people? Or a lot of these groups, particularly, it's usually less of a problem if it's a private group. If it's a public group, you might see that a lot of the public groups are just full of people posting offers. All of those offers are getting no comments, no responses, and they're basically just spam groups. Look to avoid those ones. But if you can find these quality groups that are in your niche that you can see are actually getting comments, getting question and answers, that's a good indicator to me that it's an engaged group full of the right type of people, if the right type of questions and things are being asked and answered. That's one point. The other point as well is to think a little creatively when you look for these groups. So as an example, without automation software, if I went to groups that just targeted people that were looking for basically the same type of software that we provide, there's a good chance I'm going to just come across either competitors that sell similar types of software to what we do, or it might just be full of people that already have a solution and maybe just in that group because they have questions and need support and that sort of thing. Versus a group like this, which is all about email marketing. I can target members in a group like this comfortably because I know, hey, first of all, the people in this group are interested in marketing. Second of all, knowing Klaviyo, it is a tool that is all about automation and about building out workflows and saving time. And so once again, that's a good indicator to me that people that are actively participating in this group, the types of people that may be interested in the types of automation software that we offer because they understand and appreciate the value of automating tasks versus doing things manually. So another example is in the health and fitness space. Instead of necessarily targeting a group all about bodybuilding or a group all about personal training, you might be better off trying to find niche groups of people that are looking for healthy eating recipes, as an example. Or if you really want to niche down, let's say that you were offering training services for people that have specific health conditions, then you might look for a group that's more focused around that health condition. And once again, might be, say, recipes for people that have a certain eating condition or something like that. So that way, you just got to get a little creative and think a little bit outside of the box. Often targeting groups that at face value look like exactly what you are going to offer is not necessarily the right answer, because those groups will be, could quite likely be full of your competitors as well, trying to do the same thing. So getting a little creative can go a long way. The next thing I look for in these groups is looking to see, let me see if I've got a good example. Okay, here's a good example. So looking in these groups for posts where it's usually where, and might even be a competitor of yours, has posted something of value to the group. It might be a free guide, it might be some demonstration like this, where we can see that, okay, here as an example, here are 57 people that have engaged with this post. Now, if you did something very similar to what this post topic is about, here's 57 people for you that have already indicated that they're interested in this topic, that they could be ideal candidates for you. And if you click on this here, you've got a nice little list of every single one of those people so that you can start targeting those people and sending out friend requests and things to start connecting with those people through the process that we're going to go through this program together. So the other thing that I like about targeting people that have engaged with a post is, generally speaking, means that they are more active on the social media platform. The other method I'm going to show you here is just pulling people out of the member lists. I've had a lot of success with pulling people out of member lists, but arguably there are a lot of people that are in these groups that maybe no longer really engage on Facebook or aren't that involved in the particular social media platform. We're targeting people that have actively engaged in something like this is a really great way to know that, hey, yeah, these people are on the social media platform, they're actively engaging, and you'll likely have a much higher response rate from targeting these sorts of people than just targeting the group members directly.
Charles, sorry to interrupt. Just a quick question. If you were to send a request to each of those people, would it be worth making note of where you found them? And because if they got back to you, how would you remember where you found them and why you were connecting with them?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So there's kind of two approaches I take. Either I will do exactly as you described. We keep tabs on where we have found these people from. So the two best kind of options there is either, like you say, note down, or the other thing that I tend to do is I'll say focus on a particular group for say a week or 2 weeks, so that I know that everybody is just coming from that one group, for example. So rather than say like having 10 different groups that you're targeting and just sending friend requests to any of them, and then not really knowing where they came from, just say this week I'm going to target people in the Klaviyo group, for example. And then sure, there'll be some people that don't show up until a couple of weeks later when they eventually accept your friend request. But you can always go into so after they accept your friend request, they'll appear here in the friends section of that group as well. So you could always work backwards a little bit from there and send out a bunch of friend requests and then go check in the group to see which group it was that they were in, assuming it's not in multiple of them that you're a part of.
Sure. Okay. Thanks for that.
So while we're on the screen, so the other method that you can use, which is not as targeted as finding those posts, is the members with things in common section of these groups. So once you're in the group, find the members with things in common. And I think I'm ready. Yeah, I'm in this section. But Facebook likes you engaging with people that have things in common. So targeting people in this section tends to, you'll be allowed to send more friend requests before Facebook says, hey, you've sent too many requests today, cool it off a little bit. And so this is another good one. If you're looking for a broader group, maybe you're struggling to find a group that's getting a ton of engagement, but this is another way you can easily go through here and just add a bunch of these friends or add these people as friends to bring into your process. Would tend to, if you're going down this method, it doesn't hurt to do a little bit of qualifying to start with. Click through, double check a location that you're wanting to target based on their intro and bio. Do they look like the type of person that you want to engage with? Yeah, a little bit of qualifying goes a long way in that. And then the other thing that can be a little tricky to keep tabs on is just when they actually accept your friend request. So if you go into the friend section here, then as you can see here, I just had this one accepted 2 hours ago. So this is another good way, part of the daily ritual. Come in here, check who's accepted your friend request, and then those are the next set of people to push through the process that we're going to go through together. One other really good way of finding hot leads, it can be a little tricky to get it to work to start with, but once you nail it, it works really well. So let me just see if I can find an example here. Yeah, okay, I'll just use this one as an example. So targeting ads that are for your niche is a really great way to pull in leads as well. Now, so just as a quick example, let's just say I was targeting people that were interested in mortgages. What I would do is go on Facebook and search for the term mortgage a few times in a few groups in the search bar, maybe even go to a few web pages of mortgage brokers. And a really good way to know which of those ones to target is if you search Facebook ad library. So we can go to the ad library and we could say where is it that we're wanting to look at. I'll just say New Zealand as an example, all ads. Let's just say mortgage, without going through these in detail to see which are good and which are bad. In here, okay, let's just use Westpac as an example. That's probably a bad example, actually. Let's see if we can find a better one. Okay, let's use this one. So there's a really high likelihood that these guys have got the Facebook Meta Pixel installed on their website. So let's go to their website and let's go to their page. And now we're tricking Facebook into thinking that we are interested in mortgages, for example, right? And so what will start happening now is I'll start getting more ads from people that offer mortgages, or in this case, hedge funds, but you get the point. And then the beauty of that is that when I get an ad like this, which normally you'd scroll by and you ignore because none of us want to see ads, I've now got 271 people here that I can target that have indicated that they are interested in a mortgage. So this is basically where you can, I'll say borrow rather than steal. You can borrow somebody else's ad and get people that interested in your niche. So Natalie, like in your example, you're targeting, I imagine you'd be targeting like people interested in motorsports and that kind of thing, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. You probably get ads like that already, but if not, once again, go to the Meta ads library, search for say motorsport, see what the ads are, go to a few of those websites and Facebook pages so that the Facebook pixel starts thinking, hey, Natalie's super interested in something to do with a motorsport event. And if not the same day, within days, you'll start getting ads about it. And then just look for the ones that have either a high number of likes, or even better is if there are a high number of comments, because basically every single one of the people on here is a potential hot target for you.
Mine's a little bit more niche, and this would definitely help because it's more. I just trying to drive people to the page to see all of the events, but I'm not actually. Yeah, I know it's hard one to explain since it's so new and niche. I'm still working it all out.
Yeah, well, we can always brainstorm. Now that you know the process, we can always brainstorm how you might be able to dial it in a little bit more. Now, for this week specifically, I want to keep it pretty easy and ease everybody into it, because particularly if you haven't done a whole lot of direct outreach and direct messaging through, say, Facebook, the algorithm, or the rules, I should say, rather than the algorithm, does like to see some engagement grow over time. And so for this week, really the big thing I would say in terms of action items is really just so the connection phase, all we're going to do, and I'll put this in the Slack group as well, just as a reminder for everyone. But for the connection stage, all we want to do is send the friend requests, keep tabs on those people that accept our friend requests, and then the people that do accept the friend requests, just send a really simple hi message as if you would with anybody else. Don't try and pitch them anything right away. Literally just, hi Charles, great to connect, or hi Charles, saw you in the ABC group and I'm also interested in motorsport. Just keep it really generic, and a couple of reasons for that. One, that's what we all do as real humans, right? We're not robots. We're not like pitching machines that are just out there to immediately pitch people or whatever our service is. We want to just genuinely reach out and start a bit of a conversation. And number two, the platforms do like to see that people are responding to you. If you straight away send a pitch to somebody and all they do is block you, then the platforms are going to take that as a kind of negative mark against your account, and you get too much of that, and they're going to start restricting how many messages you can or can't send. Versus if you just send a generic hello message and the person responds and says hello back, most of the platforms, once they see one interaction like that, it can be as simple as you saying hello and them saying hello back, then the platform goes, cool, they've connected with each other. All restrictions are off at that point. They can now talk to each other as much as they like. So
Find with your how you have your own personal name, Charles Nicholson, where you have the intent magnet. Do you find a difference with your engagement if you were to send a message from, say, the intent magnet page or group, as opposed to with your name?
yeah, no, very good point. So yeah, absolutely. I would do everything through a personal profile rather than a business page or a business profile. Uh,
Wow.
yeah, business pages and business profiles have the least response rate, and there's also more restrictions on them in terms of who they can reach out to and how many messages they can send and that kind of stuff. If you missed it in the group, I posted a video just about my recommendations on how to set up your personal profile to maximize, because most of the time you send the request and people are either going to accept it instantly or they're going to go and stalk you a little bit, right? And see who is this person and why they're sending me a friend request. And so optimizing your page, your personal profile goes a really long way as well in terms of increasing those acceptance rates and getting that engagement back from people. So just as a quick example, I'm going to show you from our CRM. So I'll just show you like a really simple example. Let's try this one and see. Yep. So stage one, you can see it quite literally just hello, nothing exciting. This is step one of the connection process. And this is step two. This is the next step that we're going to talk a bit more about next week. For this week, literally send friend requests, say hello. If they respond, you can even just have a genuine conversation without kind of pitching anything. But just as an example for everybody, when I say keep it simple and generic, this is what I mean. Literally just hey, put their first name in goes a really long way. And like I say, just keep it simple for this first phase. So in terms of next steps for this week, there's a few things I'll send over. I'll send over the ritual template. I'll send over the recording so that if anybody wants to review what we've said today, you can. But this week in particular, I know it's a little bit of a slow start, so to speak. Next week, we're going to really dive into the observe and value offer, which is going to be the piece that's really going to get people starting to engage with you. But as I say, let's take this a step at a time. And this week, just getting in the habit of each day sending out about 30 friend requests to those people that you've found through those methods that I've just walked you through. Then, you can mark in here. So as an example, actually, let me just bring this over. So two things. So either in here, if we were just doing days, we could say Monday, Tuesday, etc., and just say, okay, yep, we qualified 50 people. Today, Facebook let us send 20 friend requests. And generally it's probably not until the next day, at least with this first one, that you'll start getting responses. So by this next day, I might be, yep, qualified 50 people. Today, I was able to send out 25 friend requests and I had 10 connection requests accepted from the ones that I sent out yesterday. So that's one way of filling it. Or like I say, the other way, if you want to treat this more like a CRM, we can go in here and we could say, so let's pick Jason M. And yep, we qualified him. We sent him a friend request. He hasn't connected back yet today. And then we've got S and qualified, sent him a friend request and he's accepted our friend request and is ready to move on. So those are the kind of two methods I've seen work really well. If you want to make it even easier for yourself, copy and paste their profile URL into this box or add a column and post it in here so that it's easy to keep tabs on the person's profile so you know exactly who they are and how to find them again. And just go through this. And this week it's just these first 3 steps, which, like I say, you can do that sitting on the couch watching TV in the evenings, or if you're sitting on a bus going somewhere or using public transport. Like, that's the beauty of this, is it can be a really good productive use of time when you're in a situation where you normally wouldn't necessarily be able to feel like you're being particularly productive for your business. Anyway, you've got a few spare minutes, you can just jump in, send a few friend requests and get them ready for the next day. So that is it from a kind of lesson perspective for today. So I'll open up now. If there's any more questions or anything that's not clear about next steps, we can go over those now. So the floor is yours. If anybody has any. Yeah, question about not wanting to use personal profiles to reach out to people. Yeah, there are ways around it. Generally, using a personal profile is the way to go. So if you're not comfortable using your own personal profile, then yeah, best option is either create some sort of secondary profile for yourself.
Because I feel like with my industry, it would be a tricky one as well, just because it's quite a male-dominated industry. And if they just see me randomly pop up with my profile, my personal one, they might go, who is this? Yeah. And that's why I guess it's important to have your dashboard type thing set up properly. But is that where you would put your logo and things like that? I need to check out that video, obviously, but is that where you put everything, is it?
Yeah, so I go through it in more detail in the video, but the gist of it is, yeah, having a Facebook banner that indicates a little bit more about what you're about. It goes a really long way. The banner doesn't and shouldn't necessarily be sales pitchy, but just enough that, yeah, if somebody goes back to your profile, they can see, yep, yeah, these guys are interested in the same sort of things that I'm interested in. The bio section is important as well, filling in something in there that once again indicates that who you are and what kind of niche you're in and that sort of thing. And then I like to use so you can pin a post at the top of your page. I've split test a lot of different posts, and you don't need to jump straight to this from day one if you don't want to, but from my testing, the best posts that get either most engagement and when I get the most acceptances from people is when I have a video of me talking about the topic that I'm reaching out to people about as my pinned post. If you're not comfortable on camera or you don't have a video, it doesn't have to be anything flash. I can literally just be a selfie video shot on out in the garden kind of thing. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. But otherwise, yeah, even just having a pinned post with maybe a picture related to the niche is something eye-catching that if somebody went to your page and they're in your niche, they're like, oh, yep, that looks like the types of things that I'm interested in. I step through the kind of formula for the post as well in the video, the things to say and not say and whatnot. But yeah, having that pinned post, in that way they hit your page, they see your big banner, see that it's related to the industry that they're interested in, then they can scroll down and see the either the post or the video that kind of further reaffirms that you guys are interested in the same sorts of things. Then yeah, it goes a really long way for increasing that acceptance rate.
Charles, I have a question as well.
Yeah.
So usually most groups won't let me join with both of my Facebook accounts, and that as I have to one for business booster, keeping business advisory, and one for the Red Hugo coaching and branding. So if I'm coming across a post that is relevant to my other business, but I can't comment I can't comment as the relevant profile, then what is the best approach?
Yeah, so in an example like that, because I've had scenarios like that, I would just, if it's a post from a particular individual that's saying that they looking for your services, for example, and I would just go to that person's profile and copy the URL or whatever, and then switch back into your other profile, and then just reach out to that person directly and just say, you could just say like somebody saw your post in ABC group and told me to get in touch with you, kind of thing. Just so there's a little bit of context about why you're reaching out to them.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep. Otherwise, like in the scenario where, say, maybe one of your profiles is in a group and you're just wanting to pull those list of likes, then once again, if while you're in that profile, you can qualify those likes. It is a little bit more of a manual process at that point. Pull the people that have liked the post that look like good target audience for you, and then same thing, switch over to the other profile and send the friend requests from that profile directly instead.
Okay, no, that sounds good. Thank you.
Awesome. So yeah, like I say, next week we will get more into what to do once people start accepting your friend requests, how to start engaging with them and that sort of thing. What I will do is in the group I will post a document that I wrote about each of the stages. So if anybody wants to read ahead and just get a feel for what we're going to do at each stage, you can do that. But once again, this one of the things I'm trying to do over the next kind of 30 days that we have together is some of this stuff can feel a little bit overwhelming if you try and do all of it at once. So I think if we break it down into nice stages this week, I think it's something like it takes 7 weeks to build the habit, right? And so trying to get into the habit just of consistently sending out those friend requests each day can be a task in itself to start with. So yeah, just focus on that for now. And then next week, once it's baked into your daily routine to send those friend requests, say, might be when you're sitting in front of the TV each night or on the bus or something, then we can talk about the next steps from there, which is when the more exciting stuff starts. We start engaging with people and start really driving some leads at that point. So if there's no more questions, we can end it there today, and then I'll post these various resources for everybody. And yeah, if there's any questions throughout the week, you can drop them in Slack anytime, or drop them either in our Facebook group, or you can message me on Facebook directly as well.